Hey everybody, Not Sealed here. Today we're going to be replacing this double GPO electrical outlet with a quad electrical outlet. This will have 4 power outlets. Now I've already isolated the power, but I'm just checking it to make sure that I've isolated the correct circuit breaker. This top cover just pulls straight off real easy, and we see that there's 2 screws that just need to be removed. Now I probably should just add a disclaimer. I'm an authorised electrician, so if you're doing any electrical work you should engage an electrician, or at least get an electrician to check over your work once it's complete. Now the client is looking for 4 outlets here, not 2. Sick and tired of using double adapters and expansion points and things like that. So the client is actually the wife, so you know what they say, happy wife, happy life. Now we could have just installed another double GPO right next to this one, but it looks a lot neater to put a 4-gang GPO in it. It's more professional look. Plus, with renovations underway and this room just about to be painted, it's the perfect time to start cutting into things. And let's find that template and start marking out where we're going to cut. I really like that DETA have provided this template. It makes marking out the holes and cutting it out easy. Now I'm just using a stud finder here because I've got a stud wall that runs vertically from the top. Once I find where the edge is, we can work out if we need to reposition the template. I really love this zircon stud finder. It gives you a little image of where the studs are and lights up the center. Okay, cool. There's no bits of wood in our way, so we'll be able to cut to the right. I'll just remove this old metal bracket that was used to hold up the double GPO. Okay, a good trick to use is a spirit level or a bubble level, which will give us our main template line. This is what we can work off. It'll give you at least about 90% level straight off the bat cutting into the plasterboard. Right, we've got our guideline, so let's start tracing out this template. I just use a pencil, line it all up and quickly trace it through. This is the easiest part of the job. Alright, now that that's done, we can go ahead and double check our work. I'm using a pencil to see where that wood beam is. It's just like that old saying that goes, measure once, cut twice. No, it's the other way around. Measure twice, cut once. Now I'm just using a little hand drywall saw. This is a small project, so we can do it with the saw. Otherwise I'd get out the multi-tool or jigsaw or something like that if I've got a bigger cut to make. To make the vertical cut, a Stanley knife makes an excellent job. I like to use 2 hands. It's nice and stable and saves yourself from slipping and cutting your other hand, or cutting the wall, or cutting your foot. You won't need to cut all the way through the plasterboard or the drywall. Just cut a couple of mil into it, and then you should be able to just push it back and it will pop right open, just like that. And now there's a bit of paper on the back side. We can just slice through that and we have a nice clean cut. The next stage is to cut out the little screw holes. I just used a knife for this, but you could use a drill bit or a file. But I find the edge of the knife works fairly well. It's only a few seconds digging it out. Okay, well, maybe more than a few seconds. The good thing about using this existing double GPO outlet hole is we should be able to fully cover it up with the new outlet. Okay, that's looking really good now. We may just have to expand the holes a little bit later on when we give it a test run. I like to take pride in my work, so I'll just get out the cordless Dyson V7 and just suck up some of that old dust that's in the back of it, and let's just quickly test it to see if it fits. Yeah, not too bad. Next, we just need to mount the bracket that will hold our outlet in place. This bracket has 3 screws, but it actually just clips into the gyprock with these little metal tabs. It's being quite fiddly to insert, but we'll get there in the end. You can actually clamp these little tabs with a pair of pliers that will help hold it in place a little bit better. We may do that later on. Alrighty-o, here comes the fun part, wiring it all up. I've pre-attached the fly leads. These are 2.5mm red, green and black cables. I've reattached them to the outlet because this outlet hasn't got all 4 sockets connected up to the one termination point, so I've just had to add these fly leads onto it. Now we'll just open up the old cable because they were crimped over. They look like they're still in good condition, so I'll reuse them. Otherwise you may just need to cut them off and re-splice them, take off the insulation. Now, if you live in America and you are curious about what size of electrical cable to use, 14 gauge wire is good up to 15 amp circuits, 12 gauge wire is good up to 20 amp circuits, and 10 gauge wire is good up to 30 amp circuits. The most common wire sizes in America households is the 14 gauge wire and the 12 gauge wire. Right now, these cables are looking good, ready to be spliced onto our outlet fly leads. We'll just twist them a bit more, grab our fly leads up, and we'll start with the red cable. I manually tie them together by hand, and then I'll use a pair of pliers to quickly make the connection tighter. This will give you a real secure fitting as we screw them into the outlet. Some people just push them in. I don't recommend pushing them in separately. I always twist my wires together before inserting them into the outlet. Okay, our active red wire is done now, so let's move on to our neutral or our black wires. Manually twist them by hand and then use a pair of pliers to finish the twist. I like to cut off the ends just to make it really tidy. This way they insert easily into our outlet connection point. Last of all is our earth wires, yellow and green. Twist them together and use our pliers. Earths are very important, saves lives, so don't forget to do the earth point. I've seen so many jobs where people have forgotten to connect the earth. It's very, very dangerous. These look perfect now, so we're getting ready to insert them into our outlet and terminate them. As you can see, I've got my fly leads connected already on one side, and now we're going to wire these up to the second side. Each side will do 2 outlets each. Insert our active first. I've made sure that the screws have been wound out so we can insert the cables. Use a small screwdriver and tighten them up tightly. Now, when I say tightly, I don't want you cranking down on them so hard that the screws snap. Just enough to make them snug so that when you tug on the wires that they don't pull out. We will be going back over each one of the wires just to make sure that they don't pull out after movement. Now, it's a bit hard to see, but the backs of these outlets are color coded for your wires, so there'll be a red mark, a black mark, and a yellow or green mark. They will also have an A, N, or an E written on them if you're a little bit colorblind. I'll just speed up the rest of this termination procedure. It's much the same. Insert the black wire, terminate it, insert the active, neutral and earth wires and terminate them. Keep double checking all your connections, because as you move the wires they may slightly become dislodged and they'll just need a little bit of a snug down again. I'll also go through and test all the other wires, make sure that they're snug down. This is an important step. Right, these are looking all good. That was the hard part. We'll just tug on the cables, they look good, they're not coming out. For those of you wondering what brand I used, it was the DETA, and it was a 4-gang slimline series. It comes with everything you need, even the screws, the mounting brackets, the template. Now, I was having a bit of trouble inserting this bracket. I don't know why. I installed it earlier before, just a bit fiddly, had to open the tabs a little bit, squeeze it in. It looks good now. Now we get to insert it. Grab one of the screws, and I always like to start from the middle, insert the screw and locate the hole. It's easy to look in from the top. Just tighten it in a few screw threads, not all the way, and then you can work on the left hand side and then move on to the right hand side. Keeping only a few screw threads in each enables you to have wriggle room in the outlet to get a final position. You can then use a Phillips head screwdriver to start tightening it up snugly. Some electricians will use cordless screwdrivers. I do have one of them, but I find it's just easier at times just to use a normal screwdriver. You get a lot more control and you don't damage the plate if it screws in too hard. Now, we will be adding more content like this every week, so if you like my content and don't want to miss out, please subscribe. As you can see, these screws are quite long, so they're taking a bit of time to screw in. Maybe I should have used that cordless screwdriver, but we're just about there. Now we'll just check for level, so I'll grab out my bubble level, have a quick look. Sometimes I might need a fine tuning, but this is looking great. The camera is on a little bit of an angle, so that's why it's looking a bit off. Alright, the final step is the faceplate. This just clips on and it's as easy as that. Job complete, looking nice. What I really like about this outlet is it's really slimline and thin, so it doesn't protrude very far at all. As you can see, we're doing some renos, so we've still got a bit more work to do in this section of the house. Now I've just gone and turned the power back on the circuit breaker, so just to prove to you it all works, turn the switch on and we're getting 251 volts. It's a little high for our area, but it's acceptable. Thanks for watching.